My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer.
So it's been a very long journey. I think that's clear. We kind of kicked off with Alan Wake in 2005, and 5 years later, we're glad to be sharing it with the world. So one thing that we consider Alan Wake to be a thriller, slightly different from horror. I mean, sometimes horror in games or even in film means buckets and buckets of blood and monsters and bigger monsters with tentacles and stuff. And we wanted to stir away from that. We wanted to kind of have a different kind of stylistic choice where the enemies are actually real, but there's something slightly off about them. And so we had this idea of the dark presence covers them in shadows, and you need light to burn that away. And then you can use a conventional firearm to do damage. I mean, the sandbox structure matched with the thriller storyline just wasn't really working for us. So it kind of diluted the story, if you will. So we wanted to have a tighter control on the pacing and the setup of the storytelling. So when you're building a psychological thriller, you want to get this roller coaster ride and a heart-pounding thrill ride for the gamers. And really, you're doing something wrong if these guys turn up in a monster truck into a love scene, and it just wasn't right. The closest thing to a rocket launcher would be the flare gun in the game, and that's one of my favorites. I mean, flare gun, when you get that nice stream of light in the dark forest and whacks into the enemies and bursts. It's pretty awesome. The headlamps of a car serve as a perfect weapon as you're mowing down your enemies, and anything from a searchlight can be used as a kind of as a turret, if you will. So I think there's a lot of light-based weapons in there that really provide a lot of variety. Of course, then there's a layer of the conventional weapons, but for that we really wanted to keep the firearms grounded in reality. I mean, this is a writer, so you don't want him going off with this big BFG and kind of in the forest, and that just wouldn't fit the character. At its core and the very heart, it's very much the game we set out to build in 2005. So having a natural storyteller as the main character, Alan Wake, the writer, building the kind of the events take place in this idyllic all-American small town. The concept of the dark presence taking over everything in its path. So yeah, I mean, a lot of those things are very similar, but a lot of the particulars have evolved. So for example, some character might have been male in the original kind of thinking, and then we wanted to have a stronger female character, as for example, the sheriff of Bright Falls. And things like this, they evolve, and I think that's just natural. So I think on Max Payne 2, Sam went through 11 rewrites of the script. I can't remember how many we did on Alan Wake, but probably a similar amount. So, I mean, from the get-go, we wanted to build Wake into something much larger than a single game. I mean, that was clear, and that's part of the reason why it took an extremely long period of time. And this is for us very much season one. So it's very important that the gamer has closure and reaches a satisfactory goal. But on the other hand, we want to open up doors into a further fiction that we can explore. With the downloadable content, we wanted to have something that is more like a special. I mean, it's like the series of Galactica. After a season might have a special feature, and we wanted to do more than one of those this year for Alan Wake. But the story in itself that you get on the disc has not been altered in any way or cut or anything like that. So I mean, that's the full deal.